Because in Hollywood, remember, kids, it's not important if it's of high quality, only if it makes money.
Hey there, I am Pops. Let me give you a Marvel update. Lots of things. I mean, it's not. Is Kraven in the MCU? We don't know. We don't know what's going on, but Kraven update. Marvel's Echo. I hadn't really talked about the show. It's like one of those things where you're like, oh, they're not really going to do this, are you? Are they? Later this year, they're talking. I had heard it, and then I heard the date was with the Loki confirmation, and then I really don't ever hear or see anything about it. But let me just throw it out there of what I had read, so you guys at least we have like a pin in it. We'll see if it gets changed, what's going on, and then yes, Patty Lupone had talked about Agatha. She's been cast. Let's talk about what she said as well in this edition of Pops Talk, where we will get into the good and the bad and the ugly of Marvel. So first up, let's go with let's see. Let's go with bad. How about that? Let's go bad first. Let's do that. Um, let's do Echo, because Echo is probably the least interesting of the stories because we don't really have confirmation of information yet. We're kind of waiting for them to decide what they're doing. And I will admit that I have very little hope that any of it is good. Like, this is like the one show I'm like, I do not understand. I don't even understand the concept of why we wanted Echo to begin with. So she's mute. She has a fake leg. She held her own against Kingpin, and the amount of postponements and things. This is the direct, not because the direct is a good source, but because they have just massive amounts of things sourced. So they have things that are tags when you put your hover your mouse over, but you also will see that they also have like links to other articles. It's a little bit easier to go down the rabbit hole and kind of see where we're at on all of this. So this is multiple production problems, major delays. Showrunner Marion Dyer. I know Dyer. I don't even know anything about Marion, so we're going to look that up as well in another window. So make sure we have that. Oh yeah, yeah. She totally looks like she would be the one that would be directing Echo. We will come right back to her because it's going to be fun. Let's come back to that in just a moment. In the meantime, when will Echo release? Well, the irony is we don't really know, but we're going to let go with some scoopers. Scooper. C. Walsh talks about November. Murphy's Multiverse reports, quote, be ready to go this fall. Walsh responded, correct. I just asked about that this morning. They say that November with Loki in September now, Ironheart moving back to 2024. Doesn't expect to stop stuff moving around. So basically, right now, Secret Invasion is June. Loki season 2 is September. Echo is November. And Ironheart is sometime next year. They're still saying that the animated X-Men 97 will be in the fall. And Agatha is going to look at 2025. However, Agatha news seems to be the thing that we get most of our information about. So Echo is going to star Alaqua Cox as a titular character. Could possibly include Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio. Oh, God, Lord help us. Please no. And then there's just speculation nonsense. So we are still going to get Echo. And I know what you're thinking. Like, well, wait a minute. Who is in charge? Like, who would Marvel hire? Who would they bring in? It's got to be good, right? So here's Marion Dyer. I don't know how to say her name. There you go. Yep. So she is, quote, the writer of Echo. Let me see. I'll pull up what other credentials that she has, because let's take a bet on what she has. She has done one random thing and then nothing else. So she is Echo. Oh, she wrote 21 episodes of Better Call Saul. All right. Well, I stand corrected. At least she's done something. But yeah, that's pretty much it. She's done a couple of those. She wrote some sort of work on something called Shantaram, and that's what we know. Yeah. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, let's Let me change this. Let me change this up here so you guys can see. No, that's not. That's her Twitter page. Let me change that to stop that. Let me share you this picture of her so you can see what I get to see. Here we go. Uh-huh. This is what you want for your superhero show, isn't it? Let's take the graphic down. We don't need that. Yeah. So there's your creator behind Echo. Exactly what I expected. Right? So like the total stereotypical scissoring hen. There you go. Pink hair. We know it. You know it. You know it. All the stereotypes, baby. All of the stereotypes are right there. Let's see. There's just her Twitter is full of a bunch of comments about writer's strike. Nothing really there. I don't see anything about Echo. I've scrolled down quite a bit, and it's just like climate, looking for women, that kind of stuff. Nothing interesting there. Just a generic Hollywood feminist. Just the kind of stuff that we're going to expect from Disney these days is sure. I mean, she's done some, she's done some work over on Breaking Bad. So, I mean, I will at least say that is part of the resume. So more than others. So does that counts as bad? Because who wants Echo? Who wants Echo? Oh my goodness gracious me. What is the good news? The good news is the Kraven news. The Kraven news comes from Cinema Blend. This is the CinemaCon is this big Sony thing that they did over here, CinemaCon 23. And I have to admit that I'm pretty excited about this. This is pretty cool. So yeah, this is news has come a couple days ago. Quote, huge component of this Sony's Pictures Entertainment presentation at CinemaCon 23 involves studios' commitment to Spider-Man and the project associated with his universe. Again, I think I've talked about this. One of the reports I said they kind of have at least partial rights, but they literally have their fingers in partial ownership, if not full ownership, of like over 100 Spider characters. So, and you have to remember back in the day, Amazing Spider-Man was this major tentpole for them. So a lot of characters have their origins that were birthed out of that. So they were able to secure a lot of rights. And as long as they keep making some sort of properties, they're going to hold on to all that. So, all right. So the article is a lot of like, suck up, suck up, suck up. And then it gets to Kraven the Hunter, which is what it's called. Aaron Taylor Johnson, who played Quicksilver in the MCU. And that he looks, this is based on age. Okay, so yeah, Sony showed a sizzle reel, so it's not even a trailer yet. It's just like general footage. I haven't seen it, so if you guys know where it's leaked, I'd love to kind of get a feel for myself. Usually that stuff leaks out. Sergei Kravenov, the Russian immigrant son of aristocracy, who in the comics came to America to hunt Spider-Man. The movie version will take creative liberties with the origin story. All right, well, maybe not the good news, but I'm going to open the 6 things to know about the movie. But the footage goes that it's like a classic comic book suit. The footage doesn't show him putting the suit on, and then it shows an introduction of the Rhino. It is Kraven's taking down countless men in vicious fashion and has, quote, daddy issues. I don't know what that means. Let's see. It talks about some other stuff. And then I heard how it was talked about being like a hard rated R. That was part of the conversation, was this going to be a hard rated R? And it was like, I guess Taylor Johnson was asked about that and was sort of like, F yeah kind of thing. So yeah, I was trying to see if there's anything in this other article about it. I think that the idea of him being a hard R is great news. We really haven't seen too much in the way of details on this project, but I am interested to see. Okay, here we go. Let me get to this one. Yeah, gosh, the ads. No matter what I try, I end up finding that's not the right one, is it? Yeah, it is. They just popped an ad up. That's why. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right. So then this article is talking the same kind of stuff. And then down here, it's a quote by Aaron Taylor Johnson. It says, quote, "Even from afar, I still get the privilege of introducing the first ever footage of Kraven the Hunter shown anywhere." And then he says, "Grounded heavily in the real world and been confirmed to be an origin story of the Marvel character with a rated R. The rating of the footage is very necessary." So just brutal attacks. Kraven tearing flesh from enemies' faces with his teeth before spitting them out towards the camera. Wow. Taylor Johnson sports the lion pelt costume. He's slaughtering people left and right, setting violent traps, using spears and crossbows, sometimes running and moving along on all fours. Alongside all the violence and apparent F-bombs, Kraven the Hunter will also include Spider-Man villain the Rhino. Injecting himself with a serum in the footage, he says, "Don't you want to know why they call me Rhino?" at the end of the footage. So there you go. So yeah, we have a lot more details there. It's still set for October. J.C. Shandar, The Third Frontier and a Most Violent Year, is directing. Let me see. This is more of the information there. Calypso has been cast. So her name is Ariana DeBose. She's West Side Story. Fred Henshinger, The Pale Blue Eye, is Chameleon, and some other actors. So, and of course, Russell Crowe. So yeah, October 6th. So very similar to the same timetable that we had with Morbius, but unlike Morbius, maybe they kind of caught the lesson that if you're going to deal with these villains and you're going to create this sort of like dark element to be a juxtaposition against what Spider-Man is, then you probably need to kind of lean into that and not be so wussy about it. And if you're going to have these violent villains, yeah, you need to show it. Like Morbius was this generic, watered down character, and at the end result, it was this. I really didn't even watch it. I've never gotten through it all. It's just this generic vanilla stuff that I just could not care about, like at all. Could not get into. So I'm very hopeful, very happy to hear all of that news. If that's the direction they want to go. I'm not a big fan of villain movies. I'm not a big fan of trying to make us all sympathize with Kraven and what his upbringing is. I feel like it's going to have a ton of environmental tones and those kinds of things. But as far as the good news part, it was kind of where we're at on things. Well, that leaves us with what? That leaves us with ugly. Ugly. How could it be ugly? No, it's not her. It's not Patty Lupone being ugly. No. Don't get the wrong idea, people. No. Wait till you hear how she talks about Marvel's Agatha. Yes, that's right. So she is talking about her other roles in this interview. This is over on THR, Hollywood Reporter. And she gets to talk about, let's see. It's just such nonsense for the most part. What can you tell me? What can you tell me about Agatha, Coven of Chaos? We are a coven led by the great Catherine Hahn. I'm a 450-year-old Sicilian witch, and my power is divination. Do the witches sing? Now, let me ask you a question. When you're doing the interview, do you think that any of this was legitimate, or do you think that this was why would the interviewer ask her this question? Because they wanted this to be a topic. So I don't know if we can trust this, because I think it's weird that the interviewer would ask out of the blue that the witches sing or not. Like, why would you ask that? Right? It just seems like a very strange thing. But why it's bad news is they do sing. Our lead singer is Catherine, and I'm singing backup. And the songs have been written by Kristen and Bobby Lopez.
You serious?
Great. What's it like to sing backup? I said, listen, I don't harmonize. I've always been a soprano. I've always been on the top line. But it's just been great fun. There's no CGI either. What I'm seeing on this show is craft. No CGI, because we believe her, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. Aren't you ready to see Patty LuPone singing on your Marvel show? Come on. You got to admit that you can't wait. You can't wait. What's the motto here? What's the motto at Pops? Say it with me. I'll watch it so you don't have to. That's this take. I'd love to hear from you guys on it. I am Pops. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Right? And I'm not playing.